All right. Hey, Clay. I got Clay Morgan with us. Clay, why don't you just tell him a little bit about yourself here?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Clay Morgan. I'm originally from Tallulah, Louisiana. I now live in Monroe, Louisiana. Um, I am the Vice President of Agriculture for Regions Bank. I deal with most of about half of Louisiana from around Alexandria up to around Stuttgart, Arkansas. We deal with anything has to do with agriculture, lines of credit, ag loans for land, just basically anything to do with agriculture. That's what I deal with. And I am a fifth generation farm kid. I grew up around it, been in it since I was a little boy. I've been very blessed to be a part of that my whole life. On my dad's side is fifth generation. On my mom's side is fourth generation.
Got you.
So I've been around it my whole life.
Got you. So, do you currently farm now, or
No, I do
no?
not.
Okay.
My family still farms on both sides. My brother farms in Tallulah, and my uncle also farms in Tallulah. Also,
Got you.
they're both they farm separately, but yeah, they both in the agriculture.
Okay. And we was talking a little bit yesterday. I didn't want to get into it in depth because I was wanting to save it for here. You was talking about how the ag industry has a lot to do with your bird migrations and all that. And you said you could explain that a little bit more. Why? I guess my question is, you hear a lot of other stuff on the internet, which I'm sure the weather conditions as far as drought, rain, water, all that has a big conditions for whenever the birds migrate. Why would be the ag industry? What would be your what would be your best case scenario as far as ag goes for migration and big bird populations and everything?
So the best way that I can explain what we talked about yesterday is what I see and just reading reports and different things that Delta Waterfowl and Ducks Unlimited and any all those conservation services put out is that farming practices has had a lot of influence into bird migrations and or lack
Hmm.
thereof, or however they word that. And but I don't think that they do an adequate job of really explaining in depth what that really means. Um, and I know that somebody that has not been involved with agriculture, the average person that comes to Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, the Mississippi Flyway to hunt, um, would have a hard time really seeing the end result of that. So
Hmm.
basically, what we've seen here, I would say, this is not exact numbers by any stretch. This is just what I see. I would say in the last 20-25 years is we've seen a slow, steady increase in precision farming in this area. And what that means is most of these farms are taking natural sways out of fields which hold water and putting it into zero grade or very low fall type of agriculture. And how that translates to ducks and waterfowl in general is it doesn't hold water, no
Hmm.
water, no
No
birds.
ducks. Yep.
um, and expound on that a little bit more is that they also have trained the variety of seeds and stuff that they've grown here. Um, it's partly due to weather and it's partly due to just general farming practices. Is that you have guys here that are getting into the fields sooner in the year, planting earlier, and they're harvesting crops earlier. So, and what that does is not only does it leaves less spoil grain from combines and things like that in the field. It also happens so early in the year that that grain is able to sprout or rot or whatever that ends up happening to them, which means it's unusable for birds.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to also get in the fields and do tillage, your disking, your plowing, your subsoiling, all those things. And once that happens, that turns over your seeds there. It's not available for birds. I mean, we've had an abnormally dry year. I don't think we've had, whew, we have not had an inch of rain since the beginning of July in the Mississippi Delta. I mean, that's how
Yeah.
dry it is here. I mean, we have rivers and stuff here that are, when I tell you bone dry, they're just, there's no water.
Completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
that's
and go ahead.
and I was about to say, and kind of over here in Alabama, because I'm from North Alabama, so it's and it's been dry. I mean, we're pretty much in a drought right now. We got fire prevention things that's red flag warnings coming up, but yeah, and I've heard it from a lot of guys. Anywhere from kind of the Midwest to the Southeast, it's no rain, and that's daunting. And because season, which I'm sure Arkansas opens a week before our season. So, and right now we have the Tennessee River, but and it's going pretty dry as well. But I haven't been over there, but I've heard from a bunch of guys that there's no water in those sloughs on the Mississippi whatsoever. So, but you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that. So, what that means too for us is that traditionally, a long time ago, there was always spring tillage.
Hmm.
Your spring disking, rowing up, all that stuff to get your fields ready. Well, because of them also getting in the field so much sooner and getting it out, you're getting more fall land prep, especially years like this year. And if you travel the Mississippi Delta right now, I mean, it looks like the surface of the moon. I mean, there's no, everything's been dished up. There's no rice stubble, corn's been long gone. Pretty much the only thing you have left here is some late rice, and I mean late rice, a little bit of cotton, and maybe a touch of soybeans. And it's I mean, it's closing in on the end of October, and I mean, field prep's done. I mean, it's over. So
Hmm.
you're not going to have any of that grain there for the early specs or anything like that getting down here, unless they purposely are leaving it for that reason. Which there should be whenever they have the fields that haven't been touched, which is going to be far and few between. There will still be some good amount of grain in them because it's been so dry. But once again, on most years, there's not going to be that amount of food because we've had rain on this and they sprouted. And once those seeds sprout, they're not any good to the waterfowl anymore. That doesn't produce any good value to them.
Gotcha. Have you been seeing any specks or any birds whatsoever? I know that the Arkansas's early spec season's open. I don't know if it's already opened or I think it opens next week, but
It opens
uh,
this weekend.
this weekend, that's what I was thinking. Have y'all been
Yep.
seeing anything, or is they just non-existent, or
If you find water, you
you find them?
have mega buku specks all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
They've made it to about South Arkansas, North Louisiana. I haven't really seen any mass numbers flying over us yet. But according to the weather, I want to say next Tuesday, next Wednesday, somewhere in there, we're supposed to get our first real front of the year. And it's supposed to get down in the 40s or so and bring some rain. That's what it says. I mean, that can change, but
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that when that happens, we'll start seeing specks in mass numbers. But yeah, if you have water right now, you got
Yeah,
specks,
birds.
and they're going to be good opening few days.
And I was, because it's been kind of the hot topic here in Alabama, which we hardly ever see any. But here, the past probably 3 to 4 days, we've had thousands of specks. And it's so weird because you never see it here in Alabama. But I've seen a few groups myself. I mean, they're all over the internet coming from North Alabama. There's been reports for them as far as like Middle Alabama, next to like Tuscaloosa and all that. So everybody here is just kind of losing their mind, thinking what's going on because there's so many here, and everybody's just. I wonder why they come this far east, because we've never seen like you may see one or two specks every year, and you see. I mean, there's probably thousands that's been seen in the past 3 or 4 days. So it's kind of got everybody alarmed and like, which we can hunt them right now. It's early goose season. That's all geese for us right now until this Saturday it ends. But
Oh, I didn't know that.
and I've heard people that there's a few guys that I know that went hunting over the weekend because they showed up probably. People started noticing them probably Friday, Saturday. Saturday's when the most of them was noticed, and I've known some guys that went hunting Sunday. They didn't just whack them because they're most of them so high you ain't getting them down anyway. But there's been a few people that I've seen that's killed. Some groups, killed 4 or 5 birds, 7 here, a couple there, which we can only kill 5.
Hmm.
That's our limit. But yeah, and it's just crazy. So I don't know if you knew about that or you knew why they was so far this way or I
Well,
guess.
really and truly, I haven't. Specs are kind of new to me. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so traditionally, the specs would always go, when I was a kid anyway, they would always go past us for the most part and go down to Gaydon, Kaplan, down South Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
and where they grow all that rice. And well, now it seems like every year they're stopping shorter and shorter as far as in mass numbers, um, in Arkansas. I mean, I haven't been up to. I have a duck camp up in Fair Oaks, Arkansas. It's just north of Stuttgart, but
Mm-hmm.
I've hunted in that area the last few years, and it seems like every year it's just more and more of them, and they're earlier and earlier. And when you get to, man, it's really hard to say because it changes every year, but around DeWitt to Portland, Arkansas. If you're not from that area, you would have no reason to know where Portland is. I mean, it's very, very, very small. Wilmot up in that area, that's kind of where it seems like they stop, in massive, massive numbers. Um, but I mean, and the snows too. I mean, the snows will be down here this time of year. Not
Mm-hmm.
humongous numbers, but you'll have enough of them that you're going to see big feeds of them all over the place. And I don't know why that is. I mean, I know that the acres of rice that's down in South Louisiana has dramatically decreased over the past several decades, and they're putting that ground into sugarcane and crawfish farming. Um, and really, truly, that's the only thing I can think that it is not only the amount of acres of rice down there, but the pressure also. I mean, there's tons of guys down there that are using propane guns and things like that on the crawfish farms, keeping specks out of there because they'll come and demolish
Yeah, the
crawfish
crawfish.
farms. And there's not a whole lot of places for them to go down there anymore. And they don't make it to the coast. I mean, it seems like in my lifetime that the migration of all waterfowl, it ain't just ducks, it's all of them, has really, really changed. And we've changed as a society a lot too. I mean, it's and ag practices, which, with agriculture comes the land, which comes the food. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what all of them are attracted to is, food and shelter and water. I mean, that's what they need. And if it's not there, why would you be there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because I've heard, you always hear these rumors, everybody saying that, oh, the Mississippi Flyway is shifting more to the east and all this.
That's
I've
right.
heard that a bunch of times too. And I mean, really, and I don't see it. I mean, yes, last year we've had more birds here in Alabama than I think we've had since I've started hunting. I've been hunting for probably a little over 10 years now, right at 10 years. We had the best season here that we've had, but weather conditions were almost perfect for us last year as well. We got good, we got cold pretty early. It didn't stay warm, and everything north of us was freezing, so it worked out good. And on the spec thing again, yeah, I'm pretty new to spec hunting. I've only spec hunted. First time I went was probably 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. So I'm brand new to that. So I don't get it. It's above my head most of the time. And even though I really I fell in love with it the first time I did it. I was like, wow.
Oh, it's
I
fun.
said, yeah. If we had specs in Alabama, I said, yeah, I'd probably do that more than duck hunting. But
I wouldn't go that far now.
Yeah, well,
No, I like duck
you
hunting the
like the
best,
duck,
but
yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
but
I
I
love
like
ducks,
insects
but
too.
the only thing is like they talk back to you, so I'm like, make you just gotta talk to them to get them in there. So,
That's
but
right. It's a different style of hunting, but
yeah,
it's really fun too. It
yeah.
is.
But the only bad thing is, in Arkansas, you can only kill three. So,
Yeah, that's right. And
but
you said that they've been telling you that it's shifting east. Well, they
mhm,
say here it's shifting west to
yeah,
Oklahoma, Kansas, out through
yeah,
there. And it sure seems that way. I don't know if that's true or not because I've hunted out there a few times, but I don't have any prior knowledge or experience out
out
there up
there, yeah.
until very, very recently. I don't know.
Yeah, the furthest west I've been hunting is Arkansas, northeast Arkansas. But and I got some buddies of mine that's been to Oklahoma a few times. And they say it's great out there, and um, but it does look like it is picking up in Oklahoma. Everybody, a lot of people that I talk to, like, why are you going to Arkansas? Go to Oklahoma, Missouri, all that. So I don't know. That's which Arkansas is a little over 5 hours from me from my house, and that's about. I mean, I would travel more, but that's doable in a weekend. So I can go to Arkansas, hunt, stay the night, and come back, and it doesn't really affect my schedule much. So,
Sure.
anything over 5 hours is, if I'm driving 10 hours to get somewhere, it's going to be at least a 3 or 4 day trip. So, and I don't
Well,
know how, and you're right there at it, so you're probably just right up the road from where you can go. But um, do you I know you said you have a camp. Where'd you say your camp was in Arkansas?
Fair Oaks.
Fair Oaks. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit north of Stuttgart.
Got you. We've hunted, which we do. We don't have a club in there. We usually just typically do day leases. We find a couple guys and we'll do a few day leases a year, mostly around like the Pocahontas area.
Hmm.
We got into some guys up there. Um, we've done them before when we've got burnt. It's not. I wouldn't encourage it to do it, but if you can get in with a good outfitter with some day leases, it's worth it because especially if you know what you're doing, you can get birds in that way. So, but yeah, we hunt a bunch up there, Pocahontas and stuff. And then this year we was actually thinking about doing public. See, we hunt public down here all the time. We've never done it in Arkansas, not with the direct group that I hunt with. So we was thinking about doing public up there, but we don't know just yet. We're with the rain situation. We're not going to go until probably the second or third split. So let some rain
Yeah,
get in there because.
it's gonna take some major rain up
Mm-hmm.
there, and when y'all come, man, you got my number. Hit me up. I'll go out there with you. I mean, I'll
Yeah,
be more than happy to show y'all some things.
shoot,
Look,
yeah,
I'm no expert by any
yeah.
stretch, but it's Arkansas public woods. Um, I'm fairly new to it. I've been hunting it the last couple of years, and luckily I got in with some pretty good group of guys last year that kind of showed me the ropes because before I was struggling out there,
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of showed me the ropes and some areas and some different ways to do different things, and I'm gonna tell you, I it's hard to describe really how it's just different. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a different feel, different everything. But man, when you get groups of ducks coming in them trees in the Arkansas public woods, there's
And
nothing like it. It's
that,
worth your time.
yeah, and that's what I hear too. And that's because we've always talked about it, me and my, because there's probably four of us that started at the same time we started hunting. And to be honest with you, we didn't come from generations of hunting. We were actually first, we got into it, we studied it, and I mean, I wouldn't say we're professionals by no means. We're not. We're still learning every day, but there's about four of us that we've done it since, each of us has done it the same long amount of time, and we've never done Arkansas. And like I said, down here, that's all we hunt's public. We know pretty much North Alabama. We can tell you where almost every duck hole is because that's all we do. So,
Right.
um, but I've heard, in Arkansas, if you don't know what you're doing, you can get lost. And that's the biggest thing is like, I'm telling the guys I hunt with, I'm like, well, if we can get up there and just kind of cruise around and, have a a sense to where to go, we can probably do it, but it would be better if we can get some pointers up there, which we're gonna send it this year. I think I've got everybody convinced into it, but it's not going to be open weekend. We're going to go up there probably opening weekend on a day lease where we usually go, and then we'll probably wait till the second or third split, whenever the time period for out of state residents can come hunt. So, but I look forward to that too, and it's going to be. I've heard stories about the timber, so that excites me in itself, So, as long as we don't have any major mess ups, we'll be okay. it'll be worth it anyway.
But the biggest piece of advice that I could give to anybody that is going up there for the first time or is still fairly new at that is you really have to spend time in an area to understand the dynamics of it, because
Mm-hmm.
it changes so much with water levels. I mean, the White River or the Cache River may rise 6 inches a foot, and that is a drastic change in certain areas that finally get flooded that haven't been flooded, and you just have to know the water, and don't be afraid to ask people. There's man, a lot of guys up there are super protective of their areas up there, but and I get that to a point, but at the same time, in my eyes, why wouldn't uh, why wouldn't somebody take the time and try to meet somebody new and become
Mm-hmm.
friends
Oh
and,
yeah.
and try to hunt? Because if you go up there by yourself without people that have known, you're asking not only for problems, but you need a resource group to tackle all that land and scouting and looking at different spots if you want to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And it took us quite a while of striking out and going different places and looking. And I'm gonna tell you, we had a lot of 0, 1, 2 bird days, and we are just about to start like the heck with this crap. I'm
Mm-hmm.
ready to
Yeah.
do something different. And we had one day, I want to say, I don't know, it was like 15 we killed that morning or something like that. And we got beat to the spot that we were originally going to go to. And the guys were there first, and we talked with them and said, "Hey man, where are y'all going?" And at first they didn't want to tell us. And we're like, "Look, man, look at us. We're a whole bunch of fat boys. We
Mm.
ain't running no hoe. We ain't doing that. So tell us where you're going and we won't bother you." Well, sure enough, they were going to go to the same hole we were going. It's like, man, that's all y'all. We're not racing. We're not doing all that. Well, they went to that hole that morning. They didn't fire a shot, and we killed 15 that morning. And everybody's energy right back through the roof, and was like, yeah, we need to
That was
keep
it.
doing that.
Yeah. Shoots
And
you up.
yeah, and then we went scouting some other places, and it all kind of fell in together, and we had a string there for quite a while, really, from about the beginning of January to the end of the season, where we had a lot of good days, really good days.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest key, is to spend the time and get a group that wants to do the same thing. And it's some work now. It's some work, and you better be
Mm-hmm.
prepared to do that. But all that craziness that you see online and all that, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because I know it does. um, that hasn't been my
Your
experience, not
experience.
yet.
Yeah.
No.
The whole slashing tires from out of state people, all that. I'm sure you've heard of all that stuff. So,
Oh my God,
uh,
yes.
um,
Yes.
but yeah, and I've always been like that too. Like if I'm, which I come from experience, or like I said, I don't come from hunting families and all that. I didn't get taught nothing from it wasn't passed down. So I learned everything that I could. And
Yes.
I've always been the first to say, if I don't know, I'm gonna ask somebody because I want to
Sure.
know myself. But in another sense, I'm like, if somebody needs help or they don't know what they're doing, like I've took several, you know, young, 17, 18, 19-year-old boys that don't know what they're doing, just first year hunting. I've always said, yeah, if y'all, we got room for you if you want to come on. Because I've also been, in that boat too. Like a few years ago, this has probably been 7, 8 years ago. Me and two other friends, we was going to hunt at our public land. We was at the boat ramp. We get there, you know, and
Uh-oh, it's building up. I
yeah,
see
oh
it.
yeah, we we get there at 3 a.m., 3:30, And we get the boat, we put the boat in the water, get our guns out of the trucks, and we're sitting there looking. We're like, who brought the decoy? We forget the decoy, and most of that was I think I was responsible to get them, but I dropped the ball on that one. So we was like, well, that's what we're gonna do. We're an hour away from the house. We can't turn around because by the time we go back to the house, come back, well, for one, it's gonna be past daylight. We might as well, we was getting ready to pack it up. Well, we had this old man. This was probably mid to late season, so everything's done died down. There wasn't a lot of people there anyway. This old
Mhm.
man comes cruising up and he's like, "What y'all boys doing?" We start talking to him, let him know what happened, and he kind of laughed it off and he's like, "Well," he said, "I'm the only one hunting. I got a blind over here because where we hunt, there's 30 blinds that you can pick from, or it's kind of like it's a dewatering unit, but you every year there's a draw. They draw 30 blinds, and then if you don't draw a blind, you can hunt. You can still hunt that place. You just don't get a blind. Well, this guy had a blind, and so he had a stationary blind. He's like, "Well, I'm the only one hunting today. My wife doesn't like me hunting by myself anyway. You are more than welcome to join if you want to." I was like, okay, if that's cool with you, it's cool with us. So we go out there, and this is probably one of the best hunts I've ever been on. This old man, he's probably 70 years old, and I won't say his name just for sakes, but
Sure.
he dude, he taught us so much, and we killed these crap out of them birds that day. I mean, he
Mhm.
he was like, "We're gonna do this, this, and this," and we smoked them. So, and that's just kind of it's don't be afraid to ask for help if you don't know, and don't be, and then in a sense, if you can help somebody, help them, because
Pay
we're
it
all on
forward.
this, pay it forward. We're all on the same
Yep.
team, and I've been in, and out the way I look at it is, say if we're hunting a spot, somebody else comes in and I would rather hunt with them or them come hunt with us than us hunt 50 yards down the way from each other and run both of our hunts. So that's
Yep.
just kind of the way I've looked at it. And I know some guys, hell no, that's not going to happen. So, but and it makes it more enjoyable to everybody around you if you don't do that, which there's been some times, I can't say that we're perfect because there's been some times. It was actually last year we was hunting. This group of boys we didn't see them, but this group of boy comes in. I mean, right at shooting light. They're probably 30 yards away from us, and where we're hunting, it's flooded cornfield, and they're they're right there. I don't think they see us, but when they start shooting, if we wasn't behind the trees, like we was on a patch of woods and there's cornfield in front of us, if we wasn't sitting behind those trees, I think they would have done more than peppered us. And that, which I don't know if they didn't see us. I don't know, but I kind of lost my temper at that point because I was like, "Hey, but I was like, if y'all want to stay here, just come on over here, man, hunt with us." But public land does get crazy, and I know Arkansas's 10 times bigger than that, so we're gonna try it out this year and see how it goes.
It
But
is, and I have a little bit more of a unique story into how I got into that. So, um, like I told you before, I mean, I'm farm family.
mhm.
We have a fair amount of land here that my family has and has for a long time, and that's where we always hunted growing up. And luckily, I had several good mentors. My father and my grandfather, I'm gonna tell you, they both killers. I
Mhm.
mean, they are, and they always have been. And I learned so much from them doing that. But we always had private stuff that we always hunted, and it was as good as anything that you want. And we had the equipment, we had everything that we had. We would leave crops out in the fields and hunt like that, and we had our own flooded timber
Yeah.
and all that. Well, for us, the hunting has gotten so bad that last year was the second year in a row that I did not fire a shot at our place at home
Wow.
in Louisiana. And I love duck hunting. I don't care about deer hunting. If I go deer hunting or anything like that, I'm usually scouting for ducks
Mm,
to
yeah.
watch them. So, but I love it too much to not try something different. And it got to the point where I had two choices: quit or try something different. And that's what led me into going up to Arkansas. So I've been going to Arkansas for a long time, but I haven't been hunting public stuff and all the stuff like we have or we're doing now up until the last few years. So really and truly on that end of it, I'm pretty new too. And like I said, luckily I got in with some guys that we were in a camp together and showed me a lot about it. And I'm gonna tell you, without that, I'd have been in a world of hurt. I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you. So, that's the biggest key with that.
Yeah, and it pays to know people, and you like you said, it does pay to know people. But anyway, man, I think we're about almost out of time here, so we'll go ahead and shut it down before it kicks us off here. But I appreciate it. And Clay, is there any kind of social media you wanna throw out there on yourself? I know you on your Facebook profile it says you're a digital creator, so I didn't know if you had
Yep.
an Instagram or anything you could tell where people to find you and all that. And that would, if you want to
Yeah,
go
all
ahead.
my stuff is under on YouTube, Facebook, all that's under Fred Clay Morgan. I mean, I put out a few videos here and there. It's not something that I aspire to be some
Yeah.
big something or another. I know that I enjoy looking at that kind of content. So I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this already. And I like looking back at hunts from seasons past. And I learn a lot from doing that.
Oh yeah.
And so I just take GoPros and stuff like that. And I'll film some of my stuff. And I have a lot more that I'm going to do this year that I haven't edited. I already have the videos. I just haven't fooled with them. And then I'll do more this year too. And I enjoy doing it, and hopefully somebody will watch it. If not,
Yeah,
that's okay too.
hey, that's me. I don't, I'll film some stuff and put pictures, but if people look at it, people look at it. If they don't, it's for my enjoyment. So I don't,
Yeah, that's
oh
right.
well. But anyway,
That's
buddy,
exactly right.
it was nice talking to you.
Yep.
We're gonna wrap it up here, and thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you next time.